First, we will talk about where it is allowed and where it is prohibited.
California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, Washington, and the District of Columbia.
Those states were legalized for gay marriage as of December 23, 2013. 32 states in the U.S. have gay marriage bans through either laws and/or constitutional amendments. The countries that allow same-sex marriage include Argentina, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Portugal, South America, Spain, Sweden, and Uruguay.
We had 5 questions that we asked some people that relate to this topic. Let's see what they say.
Hi, my name is Lily Grover, and this is my wife, Sandy Bellevue. We live in Berkeley, California, and we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. And just to give you a little history, shortly after we celebrated our 10-year anniversary in 2004, we got married for the first time thanks to Gavin Newsom, who was the mayor of San Francisco at the time. And after we got married, the California Supreme Court, about 6 months later, decided those marriages were all invalid. So then we weren't married anymore. And then in 2008, the California Supreme Court decided that it was unconstitutional to not let us be married. So we had the opportunity to get married again. And we got married in October of 2008. And thankfully, that marriage has been valid ever since.
Hello, Emily. My name is Jerry.
And I'm Scott.
And we live in California, and we were married on August 8th, 2008, or...
08.
That's why we picked the date. And we're going to send you...
Okay. Do you feel like you were ever discriminated against for your sexual orientation? If so, can you share an example?
I definitely have been discriminated against. When I was in college, I was traveling on the East Coast in Vermont, and I was traveling with my girlfriend at the time from college, and we had a reservation at a bed and breakfast, and when we went there, they refused to rent the room to us, and we had to leave. And it was really difficult to find a hotel room for the night because it was a little tiny town, and it was not a very pleasant experience at all.
Question 1 about discrimination. In talking about it, we can't really think of any ways we were discriminated except the idea of not being able to get married.
Right. That's really the most blatant example of being discriminated against because we're gay.
Because we feel our marriage is just like our mother and father's marriages, and for many years we weren't allowed to be. And then little by little we were. First California let us get married, and then they took it away, and then they gave it back, and now we're married in the eyes of the federal government as well. So that discrimination has ended for us.
I am so lucky. I have never knowingly been discriminated against for my sexual orientation. The extra added ease is that I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is fairly diverse culturally, although people, being human, have their biases and fears. I look suburban or urban, mainstream. I do not have to fit myself into the shape of someone I am not, either visually or vocally, or in the way I dress or how I interact with people. And my parents love me, have loved me, and have always believed in me, and have always encouraged me to be my unique and fullest self.
How has the right to same-sex marriage affected your life?
Well, it's affected our lives. Just the commitment of marriage is for us, it's really deep that we're completely, absolutely, the bottom of our hearts committed to each other. And it's recognized federally and with the state just meant a lot to us that, it's just not us feeling like we're married and we are committed to each other. It's recognized through the whole nation. It's definitely affected our lives. I mean, I know I mentioned that we were together 10 years before we got married for the first time. And even still, things felt different the day after we were married. Like, it's just a deeper commitment. It's really nice to be able to say this is my wife instead of like this is my partner or something that people don't exactly know what that means. And
We did get married after being together for 25 years. It lets me say wife, which is really a more descriptive word than partner, business acquaintance, or girlfriend, someone I go shopping with. It signifies a stronger, deeper relationship. and I get benefits like other married couples do. Under the law, I become equal. I was much more moved when I said, "With this ring I marry you," than I expected. When I said that word, everything came rushing to me about that word. The people who have fought for this, died for this, who cannot claim it or name it, who cannot say out loud how they feel about someone, how they feel about themselves. It is an important choice to be able to make, and I felt that a lot of people I knew and would never know stood behind me when I said that word when I got married.
Well, that's okay. Good. The importance of gay rights. I think just that they're important because we're just people, just like any other people, and we should be treated equally. We shouldn't be discriminated against just because of who we love. I think that's the main thing. It's just that we should be a protected class of people because we are a minority, and we should have the same rights as anybody else. Nothing special, nothing extra, just the same as anybody else. But you know, there are a lot of states still where people can be fired from their jobs just because they're gay. You know, that's not all right. We should be able to be treated just like anybody else.
The next question is, what do we want people to know about gay rights? Well, gay rights are human rights, and
we deserve the same rights as everybody else, including marriage, because we're equal in this country.
What do you think the major differences are between civil unions and same-sex marriage?
Well, it's a huge difference. There's just the rights that you get being a married couple. There weren't too many rights as a civil union. Do you want to add to that? I think it goes back to what I was saying about that when you say you're married, people know what you're talking about, and when you say you're in a civil union, it's just not, you know, it's just not the normal nomenclature, you know. And somebody says, "Oh, it's my wedding anniversary," everybody knows what that means. Happy anniversary, that's great. You know, it's my civil union date, you know, or whatever. It just doesn't have the same meaning in society. I think for Willie's parents, who were at our second wedding, or the wedding that's legal, it was really important for them to have their daughter be married. I think it's just a different thing. If we had a civil union or domestic partnership, which we never did before, we weren't really interested in that. But if we had done that, I don't think it would have been very meaningful for them. We probably wouldn't have had a big ceremony. We would have just gone to the City Hall and filled out the forms, and that would have been it. It's not the same as like having a wedding and being married and having a spouse, you know. And on top of all the rights that Willie's mentioned too.
Your last question is about the difference between marriage and civil unions, which makes me think, imagine demanding that straight couples divorce and then have a civil union instead. Nobody would stand for that because we all know it's a very different thing. Marriage means more.
That's right, and we didn't really realize that until we actually got married and lived as a married couple for a while, and we can see just how different it is than a civil union.
And now that we've celebrated our 5th wedding anniversary, we certainly feel the power of marriage in our lives.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this project.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing this.
These videos show us that there are a variety of ways of how having the right or not having this right can impact lives. Due to the religious and cultural beliefs in the world, the right to same-sex marriage will continue to be debated for a long time.
The gay rights movement goes back as far as 1924, when the Society for Human Rights in Chicago became the first gay rights organization. Between 1924 and the 1970s, more gay and lesbian rights organizations were founded.
That gave those couples more benefits and privileges that people with spouses have. Although they were not allowed to be called a marriage, it was a step towards gay rights.
On October 14, 1979, more than 75,000 people participated in the National March for Lesbian and Gay Rights in Washington, D.C.